Is the Police Federation of England and Wales cracking at the seams? The long-time allegations of bitter infighting, divisions and financial chaos are escalating. The Federation represents 145,000 rank-and-file police officers, and it's a notoriously closed-shop organisation. But for the first time, people who were once inside its inner circle are speaking out.
It's a culture that you can't speak out. If you speak out, you are silenced. That's exactly what happened to me.
Channel 4 News has spoken to several staff members across the Federation, both current and former, both on and off camera. They say the Staff Association is self-serving, fundamentally failing, and perpetuates a culture of fear.
He likes to call them internal terrorists. Anybody that causes any element of friction or unsettlement in the organisation, is deemed to be going against him.
The chief executive officer, that is, the man some allege who's at the heart of the most recent problems. The organisation's financial difficulties means balancing the books has never been more crucial, and some believe that spending is out of control. The bracing breeze along Colwyn Bay helps to clear Sergeant Mark Jones's mind, which is often flooded with thoughts of his time as the Secretary of the North Wales Police Federation branch.
The scars and the emotions are raw, and I feel like I've let my colleagues down, I've let my family down, when I've done nothing wrong.
In his role as chair of the Finance Committee, Mark was tasked with scrutinising the organisation's spending. But he claims the second he started asking difficult questions, his career went into freefall.
When it came to the national budgets in the headquarters in Leatherhead, it was essentially, you don't need to know, or we'll just give you the headline figure, that's all you need to know. And that felt really uncomfortable to me, because we were talking significant amounts of money, millions and millions of pounds being spent, and we were not able to do our due diligence and look into that.
Mark says local branch spending was scrutinised to the penny, but he says he saw spending by head office that seemed excessive to him.
So there were a number of expenses which really caught my eye. For example, there was a consultancy firm where there was £76,000 against it. And the response was they're there to help the board, the national board of the Federation, work together better. There was a psychotherapist. It just said psychotherapist, £54,000. There was a cricket club, £10,000. Bearing in mind that the budgeting process that we were going through was set against a backdrop of that the Federation is in financial difficulties here. I just wanted some reassurances that the money was being spent appropriately, or checks and balances were in place. His tone was dismissive. It was condescending. Mind your own business, so to speak.
When we put these figures to the Federation, they didn't dispute them, and said in summary that they were reasonable and justified expenses for an organisation of its size. Mukund Krishna was promoted to CEO last summer to revive the Federation's sinking ship, and he'd been part of the organisation for some time, first as a consultant and then Chief Operating Officer. Channel 4 News has seen emails from Krishna to staff members referring to leaks on social media about internal divisions. We're imploding, he says. In a separate email, he refers to a disproportionate level of scrutiny on the National Board and himself as unnecessary. But many say the scrutiny is crucial. Here's why. Last year, 10,000 officers took the Federation to an employment tribunal after it backed the government over proposed pensions changes. The tribunal found the Police Federation had discriminated against and victimised its own officers. Mukund Krishna said the findings were a hammer blow, leaving the organisation financially exposed, with thousands of claimants entitled to compensation.
The harsh reality is we don't have those monies that the claimants are seeking. As I said previously, the summation of the detail in the tribunal documents comes to at about 60 million. That is the potential liability. What we have in the bank is about 8 million.
Channel 4 News understands that staff have been told that Federation House, the organisation's plush headquarters with a bar, a gym and even hotel rooms, will be sold to ease the organisation's financial burden. We also understand that legal firms representing frontline police officers are on payment plans because there's no money to pay their invoices. The tipping point for Mark came when Mukund Krishna asked staff to sign an agreement that would hand over significant power to him, the CEO, including overall control of finances.
I put forward a professional challenge to say that on behalf of all the police officers across England and Wales who pay their money to be a member of the Federation, that is not acceptable. We have to have scrutiny. From the moment I did that, it was game over for me.
Mark Jones was summoned before a panel for allegedly disclosing confidential information.
Now, presumably the Police Federation's position on your particular case, Mark, is that you broke the rules or you released sensitive information and that they did what they had to do. What would be your response to that?
So, for the whole response to that is, to this day, they have never told me what exactly I meant to have done. I was told to clear out the building, have no contact with anyone. All my IT access was immediately deactivated, so I had no way of communicating with people. My whole professional career, which I've been doing for so long, was just collapsing around me, and there was no one there to support me. I was so isolated, and I broke down.
The Police Federation told us that following an independent investigation into the allegations, a panel of 3 experienced elected Federation representatives and serving officers investigated Mark Jones's case and concluded that he was in serious breach of the Federation's Code of Conduct. The ruling was upheld on appeal, and the CEO had no active decision-making role in the process. Helen Durant was employed as Mukund Krishna's executive assistant for just under a year. Like Mark, Helen was also worried by the huge sums of money being spent.
We had, communication consultants coming in who were on a retainer every month. And we had a fully functioning comms team, so it didn't make any sense.
Did you actually see the invoices, say, for the external comms team?
Yes.
How much money was being spent?
They were on a retainer of £33,000 a month.
A month?
Yeah.
And there was already a comms team?
There was already a comms team, and then anything else that they did on top of that, they charged for as well. So it was a lot of money. I felt that a lot of the organisation was self-serving. They weren't serving the paying members. There were articles that PFEW were releasing on how police officers were having to use food banks. But then to see where the money was being spent in other areas just did not sit comfortably with me.
What's the phrase that's used to describe people who speak up?
He likes to call them internal terrorists. Anybody that causes any element of friction or unsettlement in the organisation, is deemed to be going against him.
And you've seen that phrase used or heard it used?
Yes.
The Police Federation told us the consultancy in question was hired to provide political advisory services that were vital in helping secure a pay increase for police in 2023. In a statement, the Police Federation of England and Wales says it totally rejects the portrayal of the organisation, which seems to be based on highly misleading and unfair claims, adding that Mukund Krishna has had to make difficult decisions for the greater good as part of a programme of transformation. Mukund Krishna says, the vast majority don't share the views in this report. My task, he says, is to bring about the change that our members want. I know that change can be unsettling to some people, but it's essential if we're to build a staff association fit for the future.
If the Federation was to break down, if it was to implode, then it would leave police officers incredibly vulnerable. The public across England and Wales would be less safe if the Federation was not to exist or not to be as effective as it should be.
Police officers we've spoken to say if there was already a crisis in policing, the Federation's woes add to it.